In the last class, we studied about the basic computer, its instructions, format, uh, its types of instruction formats, examples of instructions, and then also we have touched upon instruction cycle. Today we'll look at timing and control, and what is the significance of it and how you can implement it um, in hardware. So what is timing and what is the need of timing? As you know, CPU, central processing unit or processor, has three components in it. It has ALU, arithmetic and logic unit, registers, and it has control unit. So the job of control unit is to generate signals, timing signals, to make certain operations happen at a certain time. Essentially, this means that it is like uh, a master clock. So it generates clock signals, control unit, and these clock signals will be given as control inputs to various uh, devices like multiplexers, uh, processor registers, micro operations. All these, suppose if you have a bus. If you remember, we have seen a bus connecting memory and um, registers. What registers? Accumulator, data register, temporary register, instruction register. So that bus, when it should perform a particular task, is determined by the clock input generated by the control unit of processor. There are two ways in which you can organize a control unit. First one is hardwired control unit and microprogrammed control unit. In hardwired means uh, all the entire logic of when to generate which signal is designed and created by using flip-flops, gates, decoders, and other digital circuits. What is the advantage? It has the advantage that it provides a faster mode of operation. Mm, Whereas microprogrammed control unit uh, stores the control program in control memory, which will generate control signals. So the advantage of microprogrammed organization is you can change the control program. Suppose um, if you want to if you are performing an operation at 10 o'clock, and if you want to perform operation at 11 o'clock, then what you can do, you have to change the control program. So that doing that is very easy in microprogrammed organization, and it cannot be done in hardwired control unit, because hardwired the logic is fixed, you cannot change it. So the advantage of hardwired is it is fast. Disadvantage is you cannot change the program control logic. Whereas microprogrammed control, the advantage is it can be easily changed. The control program can be easily changed, but uh, it is relatively slow. because it is not in hardware. Let us look at microprogrammed, no, hardwired control units in this section. If you look at this hardwired control unit, this, so it has one instruction register, one decoder, 3 by 8, another decoder, 4 by 16, a sequence counter, 4 bit, and a control logic gate. So what happens in this is, instruction register hold the instruction, and in this you have 0 to 12 bits, and 12, 13, 14 bits are opcode, and 15th bit is mode bit. So what do you do? Three parts of instruction register is given to the control logic gates. This is control logic gate. So you give this 3 as input to control logic gate, and also you give a sequence counter. Sequence counter will generate timing signals. If it is 4 bit, it can generate 16 timing signals. So T0 till T15, total 16. That is decoded. Decoder will take 4 inputs and will set any one output as 1. You know decoder, it takes n inputs and generates 2 to the power of n outputs. N inputs are 4 and outputs are 16. So here what happens is, the sequence counter will generate timing signals, and from here you get instruction register contents decoded. All the things you give as input to control logic gates, and this control logic gate generate control outputs, and this control output will decide at what time which part of the instruction should be executed. To understand this control and timing, so here it generates D0 to D7. When will D0 bit be set to 1? When the opcode is 000. When will D1 bit set to 1? When the opcode is 001. When will D2 bit will be set to 1? When the opcode is 010. And when will D7 bit set to 1? When the opcode is 111. So I hope this hardwired control unit is clear. We'll move further. This is the timing, this is control timing signals T0, T1, T2, T3, T4. So what happens is, this is your clock and these are your uh, timing signals along with the decoded value D3. CLR is clear sequence counter. So what happens in this is, first T0 is active, then T1 is active, then T2 is active, then T3 is active, then T4 is active, and D3 is active from 3 means from third bit means which is T2, which is equal to 3, and clear will be active when it completes a cycle of 4 bits. SC sequence counter input is 4 bits. So T0, T1, T2, T3. After that it clears. This is example of control timing signal. So when D3 and T4 is equals to 1. So when D3 and T4 is equals to 1, clear is equal to means clear uh, clear bit will become 1 and it clears the contents of SC sequence counter. SC here is sequence counter. Next is instruction cycle. This we already studied, but then we will look at how it works with timing signals. Initially, sequence counter is cleared to 0 and it provides a timing signal of T0, and then it is incremented by 1 and then it provides a timing signal T1. Then SC is again incremented and provides a timing signal of T2, and so on until T15. Again it will be cleared to 0 and again it begins with T0. So this cycle will continues. This is very important. Please try to understand this. T0 means at time T0, T0. At time T0, what are you doing? You are transferring the contents of PC into AR. What is PC? Program counter. What is AR? Address register. You are transferring the contents of program counter into address register. What does program counter contains? It contains the address of the bit, address of the instruction that is to be executed. So if program counter has a address of 200, then that 200 will be given to AR. Now AR contains 200. At time T1, what are you doing at time T1? For example, if you have a timetable in your college, at 9 o'clock there will be one class, at 10 o'clock there will be another class, and so on. So at T0, you are transferring the contents of PC into AR. At T1, you are loading instruction register with the memory M of 200 means whatever is the memory contents. Memory M means memory. You are accessing RAM memory, our primary memory. So the primary memory has some addresses. So which address you are referring to here? 200. So if you say that M of 200 means that M of 2 memory contents of 200th location will be loaded into IR instruction register, and you are incrementing PC. PC is equals to PC plus 1. What does this means? It means that you are incrementing the PC value now to not 1. It becomes 2 not 1. For example, this is a hypothetical example. So it becomes 2 not 1. Next, in the next time T2, what are you doing? You are trying to decode the instruction register. Instruction register has three parts. The first one is address part. If it is a MR instruction, MR means memory reference instruction. If it is RR instruction, register reference instruction, then the first part contains the opcode. And if it is IO instruction, then also the first part contains the instruction, that is opcode. In here we are referring to MR instruction. When it is an MR instruction, the first part will hold the address and the bits are from 0 to 11. Totally it make up to 12. So what are you doing here? First you are decoding. How you are decoding? Please, students, all of you mute your audio. Please, all of you mute your audio. If anyone has to say something, unmute and say. You are allowed to ask a question. You can stop me and ask question. But right now, please mute. Okay, so 0 to 11 is address part, 12 to 14 is the opcode, and 15th bit is the mode bit. What are you doing is 12 to 14 bits you are decoding. When you are decoding, the output you get is 2 to the power of n. So what is the value of n? Here the value of n is 3, 12th, 13th and 14th bits. How many values decoder will generate for 3, 8 values? The 8 values. Amarendra, please
Yes, ma'am.
unmute. Please mute. And who? Yasmin,
Yes, ma'am.
please mute. Jagdish, please mute your audio. Amarendra, still your audio is not muted. Okay, fine, I have muted. So, uh, for 3 inputs, it generates 8 outputs. And among the 8 outputs, one output will be equal to 1. All the other outputs is equal to 0. So, if our input is 0, 0, 0, then D naught, D naught will be equal to 1. D naught will be equal to 1. When inputs combination is 0, 0, 0. When input combination is 0, 0, 1, D naught is 0, D1 is 1. And remaining all the other output values are 0. Like that, when the input is 1, 1, 1, then D7 will be equal to 1. All the other output values D0 to D6 is equal to 0. That's what you are doing in this. This is very important, so I am explaining it in detail. At time T2, you are decoding My God, what is the problem? Why Pavani is unmuting? Pavani? So, our opcodes are decoded. Then, at the same time, our address part of IR is copied into AR. Then, the last mode bit, IR means instruction register of 15th bit, is copied into I. A flip flop. I is a flip flop. So in flip flop means it can hold only one bit. It can store only a single bit. Now
Max Clean Floor Cleaner ఇది 99.9% క్రిములను తొలగిస్తుంది. సమర్పిస్తున్న కొత్త Max Clean Surface Sanitizer ఇది అన్ని రకాల కీటకాలను శుభ్రంగా మరియు సురక్షితంగా ఉంచుతుంది. ఇది దీర్ఘకాలిక బీమా పాలసీ కాదు. ఇందులో మీరు కేవలం 5 సంవత్సరాలు మాత్రమే మీ బీమా ప్రీమియం మొత్తం చెల్లించాలి. తదుపరి 5 ఏళ్లు మీరు విశ్రాంతి తీసుకుంది. శ్రీరామ్ లైఫ్ అభయ హస్తాల్లో మీ డబ్బు క్రమం తప్పకుండా పెరుగుతుంది. మీరు చేయవలసిందల్లా ఈ నంబర్కు కాల్ చేయండి. ఇప్పుడే ఈ నంబర్కు కాల్ చేయండి. పాలసీ యొక్క 10 ఏళ్ల గడువు ముగిశాక మీరు
somebody has muted me also. So fetch and decode, both the operations now they are performed in these three timing signals. When at which time signal you are performing the fetch and at which time signal you are performing the decode? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me which timing signal is for fetch and which timing signal is for decode?
T2 for decoding, ma'am.
Yes, very good. T2 is for decoding. T0 and T1 are for fetching. Means
It,
actual fetch is T1.
T1
T0,
is actual.
yes, T1 is actual fetch because You are loading the memory contents into instruction register, means you are fetching it.
Hmm.
So look at here this. What is the need of performing this PC into AR? Can anyone tell me? Look at the bus structure which we studied uh, in chapter 4. If you just look at the bus structure, then you will get the answer for this question. Why you have to copy the contents of PC into AR? Why not you say M of PC? Can anyone please flip back and then understand and then tell me? Yes, is anyone trying to get the answer, or we are wasting the time? Anyone tried? Anyone get the answer? Okay, okay, I will only tell because to bus only AC is connected. AR only AR means address register is connected to the bus. So what happens is and also to the memory. Uh, look at this figure. Is PC connected to memory? PC is not connected to memory. AR is connected to memory. So in PC you hold the address of the next instruction that is to be executed. But if you have to bring it from the memory, then you have to copy that contents of PC into AR. And then you can access M of AR. Okay, in this what is happening is at time T naught, look at here, time T naught is given to AR and time T1 is, that signal is given to PC and also to IR, means you are loading. You are loading to load the time signal is given. So in this what is happening is, this is our bus. To this bus, that selection input lines get the timing signals T1, T0, and also uh, registers and memory unit uh, gets the memory unit also gets the timing signal. Registers also get the timing signal, and this timing signal only will decide when an operation has to be performed. So that is a fetch phase. This I have already explained, but again can anyone explain this? Yes, can anyone explain this? I already explained this the other day. Who all are there? Afreen? Can you explain that figure? I can't unmute, I can just mute. Amrender, Jagdish, Kirti, Naresh, Prem, Shravan, Shravani.
Hello, ma'am.
Naresh. Can you explain?
It's obvious that computer.
Tell me this figure.
Well, I can't tell you, ma'am. Well, two things are being shown. I'm trying to access the call through laptop and phone. In phone, a different picture is being shown. On laptop, a different picture is being shown.
And also your audio is having a lot of noise and it is very much disturbing. What is the problem?
Uh, are you talking about instruction cycle or a flowchart diagram?
This flowchart.
Okay.
Can anyone tell me this flowchart?
Hi, ma'am. This is Shravan. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, Shravan. Please explain.
Actually, I don't know this, but I'll try to explain. This is my first class, so I'll try to explain. This flowchart says that first, from start, it is SC.
What is SC?
SC is I think it's a counter.
Yeah,
I
very
don't
good.
know.
Sequence counter. Sequence counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is initialized to 0.
It is initialized to 0. After that, it is that program counter, the whatever data is in program counter, it is moving to AR address register.
Yes, at which time? At time T0.
T0. It's time T0.
Yes.
And then from M, this M indicates move, ma'am.
M indicates memory.
Sorry, that memory, that the memory part of address register is moving to instruction register.
Yes.
And at the similar time, programming counter is incremented by 1 at time T1.
Why?
Might be this adding, no, not, we are incrementing programming counter because in PC0, there will be some data. So to add next instruction, we might be incrementing this.
Yeah, PC stores the address of the next instruction that is to be executed. So that is why you are incrementing PC, so that now PC should point it to the next address. Okay, right, next.
And then we are decode operation code in instruction register 12 to 14. So we are adding some code from in 12 to 14, that whatever there be ports, we are adding instruction in it.
No. You are accessing the 12 to 14th bits of instruction register and you are decoding them, because instruction register has 3 parts: address part, opcode, and mode bit. So this 12 to 14 refers to the opcode. You are decoding the operation code, and you are copying the address part of IR into AR register, and also you are storing the mode bit. It can be 0 or 1 into a flip flop I. Okay, next.
After that, we are making the D7 bit as 0. If it is 0, it will go to indirect part.
When it will be 0?
If we didn't give 111, it will be 0, ma'am.
Yes, very good. If the input combination or the top operation code combination, if that is not 111, then D7 bit is 0. Means it from 000 to 110. D7 bit will be 0 only. Only when opcode are 111, D7 bit will be 1. Okay, right. Next.
And then it will go to execution state if it is 1.
Not execution. Still you
Here I
have.
see that. Okay. Sorry, my screen is not that. It's a bit slow net. So
Now did you get it?
yeah. So here also again it is asking us if it is 0, we need to go to register. If it is 1, input or output something.
So what is that? That is, there are 3 types of instructions. MR, memory reference, RR, register reference, IO, input output. So if D7 is 1, then you have to determine whether it is register reference or IO. That is determined from the mode bit I. If I is 0, then it is register reference. If I is 1, it is input output. And then this side, when D7 is 0, you have to find out whether the address is direct address or indirect address. How do you find out? If mode bit I, if it is 0, it is direct. If it is 1, it is indirect.
Okay.
If it is direct, the address part contains the effective address. You don't have to perform step number 3. So you just do nothing at time t3. Means if it is a direct address. If it is indirect address, further you have to copy the contents of memory referred by AR into AR to get the effective address. And this side at register reference, you are executing the at time t3 only, because there is no address involved in RR and IO. So directly you can execute the instruction without any concern about address. You are executing at time t3, means at clock signal t3, that will be executed, and then SC is set to 1, sequence 0, sequence counter is cleared. Means SC 0 means it is cleared. Cleared means again the another instruction cycle will begin. And this side, after the third step, in the fourth phase, memory reference instruction will be executed and sequence counter will be cleared, and again the next instruction cycle will begins. So like this it continues for the number of instructions present in the program. When it encounters halt or the end of the program, this instruction cycle also ends. I hope it is clear. You all have understood. Okay, what is happening here? Uh, you just see how you can symbolize the the instruction cycle steps. When you are copying the contents of memory into AR, this can be denoted by D7 dash I T3. How can you write this? You just look at here. AR this side, okay, at time t3, I is 1, d7 is 0. D7 is 0. 0, to make it 1, you have to complement it. So we are complementing D7 1, means you are making D7 1 and I is 1 only, and T3, see, look at here, this D7 is 0, means we are talking about this part. This part, D7 is 0. When D7 is 0, this will be executed. So to make D7 1, because if everything is 1, then only an operation will be executed. So what you have to do, you have to just complement it. D7 complement, I is 1, you don't have to complement I1 and T3. So this can be symbolized as D7 dash I T3. Then how do you symbolize this one? D7 dash I dash T3. How do you symbolize this one? This one is D7 I dash T3. And how do you symbolize this? D7 I T3. If you have doubt, please unmute and ask. Don't keep the doubts with you. That is about the execution of memory reference instruction. Now we are starting to understand register reference instructions. I will be explaining you this table for register reference instruction. As you know, when register reference instructions will be executed when D7 is 1. When D7 is 1, it is register reference instruction, and I dash means when the 15th bit is 0, then register RR instructions will be executed. When I is 1, when the 15th bit is 1, then IO instructions will be executed. So how are you denoting that? You are denoting by means of D7 I dash, because I is 0, you have to make it 1. So you just complement it. And at time T3, again let me show you this register reference. This here, it is D7 I dash, because I is 1, so I is 0, so the I dash, and then T3. At this point, register reference instructions will be executed. Next, IR. What is IR of I? IR of I is bit I. What is bit I? Bit I means because IR instructions will be stored in the first part, that is 0 to 12 bits. 0 to 12 bits, at that position you will get RR opcode, because RR instruction does not have memory address. So in this you will get, you have to decode it, and you get bit I, means if it is 0th bit, then bit B0. If it is first bit, B1. If it is second bit, B2, like that. So R, what is happening is you are just assigning D7 I dash T3 to a variable, or to a literal R. Okay. Then R, what are you doing? Sequence counter you are setting to, means you are clearing the sequence counter. So, it is assigning a 0 to SC is equal to clearing SC. So you are clearing SC here. Then CLA, if you remember the table, that table we studied, in which we had all RR instructions. So CLA is clear accumulator. When CLA will be performed? When B11, when bit value is 11. When bit value is 11, then AC is equal to 0, means clear accumulator. CLE. CLE means clear that extended bit of accumulator. When it happens, when it is R, what is R? D7, I dash T3 and B10. Then you are clearing E. CMA means complement accumulator. When bit is 9, AC is equals to AC bar, which is complementing AC. CME means complement E at bit when bit 8, B8 is set. When B8 is set means when it is equal to 1. Then E is complementing, E equal to E bar. CIR, that is circular right shift. This is done between AC and E. So SHR, shift right operation you are performing, and you are getting the value of E into AC of 15, and you are copying 0th bit of AC into E. Circular means it is moving between the ends. And CIL means circular left shift. It is between AC and E again. But if you look at here, 0th bit will get 0th bit of AC will get the value from E, and 15th bit of AC is 15th bit of AC is moved to E. Then INC is increment. Increment operation is performed when B is 5. What is increment operation? You are adding 1 to the contents of accumulator AC. SPA, skip if positive. What does this mean? If accumulator means if the 15th bit, you know a number can be a positive number or a negative number. And to distinguish between positive and negative numbers, we use the MSB bit, most significant bit of a number, um, to determine whether it is a positive or negative. 0 indicate that the number is positive, 1 indicate that the number is negative. So you're checking if the 15th bit is 0, then you are incrementing the PC value. Means if you increment the PC value, what happens? PC stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. If you want to skip that, you have to add one more 1 to PC. When you increment PC once more, then you are skipping that instruction and going to the subsequent instruction. And skip if the number is negative, SNA. That is, if AC of 15 is equal to 1, then you are skipping. SZA, if the contents of accumulator is 0. If AC means all bits of AC is equal to 0, then you are skipping the next instruction. SZE, if extended bit, if E flip-flop is equal to 0, then you are skipping the next instruction. Halt means you are S is a start-stop flip-flop. If S is set to 0, if you assign a value 0 to S, it means that you are halting the computer. It means you are stopping the execution. Any doubts? Please understand. And today's work is to go through memory reference instructions. This table, what happens? D naught means 0, 0, 0. You are performing AND operation. How do you perform AND operation? Accumulator and M of AR. M of AR means memory of address register. So one operand is in AC, another operand is in memory, and then you are performing AND operation between the two. Add means one operand is in AC, another operand is in memory, and then you are performing the addition operation, and then the carry will be stored in E. LDA means load. Load means you are loading the contents of memory into AC. STA means store. Store means you are storing the value of AC into memory. BUN means branch unconditionally. Branch unconditionally means whatever is the value in AR that you are moving into program counter, so that the next time next instruction to be executed is available in PC. The address will be available in PC, and then that instruction will be executed. BSA means branch and save return address. This is you are storing the value of PC into memory. PC, what does PC hold? PC holds the address of the next instruction. So the next instruction address you are storing in memory, and then you are branching or jumping or moving to the to the place which is pointed to by AR address register. So you are incrementing the address register and storing in PC, so that the next instruction to be executed is the one where you are jumping, and after the execution of that you may come back to this address which is stored in memory. Then that you can load again in PC, and then you can uh, resume the execution. ISZ is increment and skip if 0. What are you incrementing? Memory contents you are incrementing, and you are checking if the contents after incrementation, if it is 0, then you are skipping the next instruction, that is PC equal to PC plus 1. So these memory reference instructions are further explained in detail by using the timing signals and decoded values. You have to go through all of these. And then next, in the next class, no, let me complete this. This one I will explain you. Let us complete memory reference instructions today. So what is, please try to understand this. This is very important. BSA means what? Branch and save return address. So look at this first part of this figure. In this, this is memory. Now both the this box kind of a thing represents memory, and this is address. This labels, their labels are addresses, and within the memory you will have the contents of memory, and each location will have an address. So 20 is the address, 21 is the address, 135 is the address, 136 is the address. Same here also. 0 BSA 135 is the instruction. In this instruction, what are you stating is that 0 means what? It is a direct address, and BSA is the opcode, and 135 is the address of the operand. So what are you doing in this is whenever the system encounters branch and save return address instruction, so where you have to branch? You have to branch to 135, and then before branching to 135, what you are supposed to do? What is the next instruction that is to be executed? Means what? Where you have to resume? Where you have to return? You have to return at address 21 after the completion of the execution of whatever is there at 135. So what you have to do? You have to return to address number 21. So what you do in BSA is, this address number 21 is stored in address 135. At address 135 you will store 21, and then PC will contain 136, means the next instruction to be executed. So this is, suppose, consider this to be a subroutine. You are executing this subroutine, and at the end of the subroutine, the last statement is also an instruction. In this instruction, 1 means indirect address, BUN means branch unconditionally, and 135 means jump to 135. So what you are doing, you are jumping to 135, getting the because it is 1, because it is indirect address, this 21 is the address where you have to jump. Okay, because it is indirect. If here it is 0 and if you put 21 here, then directly it will jump to 21. But because you are putting 1 here, so you have to go to 135, get the address 21, and then go to go to address number 21. In this address number 21, what happens after you move to address number 21? It is like you are resuming the execution. Okay, so branch and save return address, you are executing, and then at a particular time you find this is like a function call. When you have a function call, suppose there is a function add, and then if you say add of 2 comma 3, then you are using BSA, branch and save return address. You are going to add function, executing add function, and coming back to the next statement. If the next statement is printf, so you say printf and something, so that suppose add is the address 20, printf is the address 21, and then what happens at address 20, you are moving to the subroutine. Suppose if subroutine address is 136, so before 136, what do? You store the address 21, because you should know where you have to remember where you have to return. So any doubt in this, please ask me. Okay, so you all have to complete reading part up to 511 figure. Please go through everything. If you find any difficulty, anything not clear, please ask me tomorrow. Day wise, if you study, then it will become easy for you. You know, remembering all this is not very simple during exam. So if you read once now and again at the time of exam, it will be easy for you to recall. So students, I am ending the class now. I have to conduct seminars for final years. So next, again tomorrow at 11 o'clock we will meet. Have a good day. Bye.